For years, Nicolas Maduro was a ghost, surrounded by heavily armed guards and hidden behind the walls of a Caracas fortress. Taking him down using traditional military force was considered a suicide mission. But on January 3rd, 2026, the United States didn't send an army to find him. They sent an algorithm. In a classified operation, the Pentagon unleashed an artificial intelligence so advanced it tracked his digital footprint, analyzed his eating habits, and predicted his exact movements. By the time Delta Force kicked down his bedroom door, Maduro was just steps away from a steel-reinforced safe room. He never made it. For over half a decade, the US government had a massive bounty on his head, but a price tag doesn't mean much when your target controls an entire military. Maduro wasn't just a fugitive, he was a dictator wrapped in layers of extreme paranoia. His security detail was fiercely loyal, and his inner circle was completely sealed off. Traditional intelligence kept hitting a brick wall. Human spies and informants were simply too terrified to act. If the US sent a drone, they risked sparking an all-out war. If they sent a strike team in blind, it would be a bloodbath. Maduro's compounds were absolute fortresses, equipped with steel-doored safe rooms designed to withstand a military siege. The CIA and the Pentagon soon realized that human limitations were the problem. To catch a ghost, they needed a hunter that didn't sleep, didn't blink, and could process the chaos of an entire country in milliseconds. Enter the machine. In late 2025, the Pentagon and US intelligence agencies quietly handed the reins of the world's highest-stakes manhunt over to an artificial intelligence. They deployed a highly classified, militarized version of the AI model Claude, integrating it directly with advanced surveillance networks. The scale of the operation was terrifying. Every single day, the AI consumed oceans of data that would take human analysts lifetimes to read. It swallowed live satellite imagery of Caracas, encrypted radio bursts, thermal signatures, and even the seemingly random food delivery schedules to various compounds. The machine wasn't just looking for a face on a camera, it was hunting for the invisible gravity of a dictator. It tracked the behavioral anomalies of his inner circle. If a trusted general suddenly changed his driving route, the AI flagged it. If the power grid near a suspected safe house flickered in a specific pattern, the AI logged it. Slowly and relentlessly, the digital net pulled tight. The algorithm built a flawless, predictive model of Maduro's life, mapping his exact routines down to the minute. He didn't know it yet, but he was no longer a ghost. He was just a data point on a server in Virginia, waiting to be erased. Finding the dictator was only half the battle. Extracting him alive from a heavily fortified compound in a hostile, sovereign nation was a tactical nightmare. But the AI didn't just locate Maduro. It built the exact blueprint to break him. Using the mountains of spatial and architectural data processed by Claude, military engineers constructed a one-to-one physical replica of Maduro's primary safe house in a classified US training facility. Every hallway, every camera blind spot, and the exact thickness of the steel-reinforced doors were simulated with terrifying accuracy. This wasn't a standard breach and clear. Delta Force operators ran the simulation over and over in the pitch black. The AI had mapped out the exact sleep cycles and shift changes of the compound's guards. It calculated the precise millisecond a charge needed to detonate to perfectly disorient the inner perimeter without triggering the secondary alarms. The algorithm even predicted the exact route Maduro would take from his bed to his panic room the second the first door was breached. The operators weren't just training for a raid, they were rehearsing a choreographed, AI-directed ballet of violence. By the time the green light was given in early January 2026, the raid had already been successfully executed hundreds of times in the dark. The real thing was just a formality. January 2nd, 2026, the dead of night in Caracas. There was no warning, no air raid sirens, and no massive military convoy, just the silent, suffocating descent of US Special Forces, dropping into the exact security blind spots the AI had mapped months prior. The compound's outer perimeter was neutralized before the guards even knew they were under attack. Every camera feed was intercepted, every local radio frequency was swallowed by a directed electronic blackout. The breach of the main reinforced doors didn't trigger a sprawling, chaotic firefight. It was a surgical dissection of Maduro's final layer of defense. Deep inside the fortress, Nicolas Maduro woke to the sound of his own impenetrable walls being ripped apart. Panic set in. He bolted from his bed, scrambling toward the steel-reinforced safe room that was supposed to make him untouchable. It was only a few feet away, but the AI had already calculated his exact reaction time. It knew precisely how long it would take a man of his age and build to cross that specific floor plan. Before his hand could even brush the steel handle of the vault, the shadows of Delta Force operators materialized in the hallway. The machine's math was absolute, and the timing timing was flawless. The ghost of Caracas was stopped dead in his tracks, completely trapped inside his own fortress. Hours later, the sun rose over a dictator who no longer had a country. Nicolas Maduro, the man who spent years taunting the world's most powerful military from behind an army of loyalists, found himself in federal custody. He was quietly shuttled out of Venezuela and suddenly standing inside a Manhattan federal courtroom, completely stripped of his power. In a desperate plea, he claimed to the judge that he was kidnapped, but he wasn't taken by an army. He was solved by an algorithm. The US government didn't just capture a heavily guarded head of state, they successfully tested a terrifying new reality of modern warfare, a reality where human error is eliminated and target acquisition is reduced to pure mathematics. The most chilling part of Operation Absolute Resolve isn't that it worked flawlessly, it's that the artificial intelligence that caught Maduro didn't get shut down after the raid. The digital dragnet is still running, it's still learning, still watching. If a machine can silently orchestrate the downfall of an untouchable dictator without sparking a war, whose timeline is it calculating right now?